On today's Question of Faith, what are 50,000 people doing in Indianapolis? Hey everybody, this is Question of Faith. I am Mike Hayes. I am the Young Adult Ministry Director in the Diocese of Cleveland.
I'm Father Damian Ference, the Vicar for Evangelization.
And our guest today...
I'm Paul Jarzymbowski. I'm the Associate Director for the Laity at the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops.
So you're in charge of all laity, that means?
Every single one. No. The bishops are ultimately in charge. I simply help them facilitate their encounter with the laity.
Yes, there are several different Pauls, I hear.
There is, yeah. There's multiple Pauls that are here. There's the Paul that works with the Bishops' Conference. There's Paul that's an author and has spoken on and works with evangelization and young people. And then there's just the Paul that hangs out with his wife at Disney World. So there's many.
There's many Pauls. And you were just recently in Cleveland, so thanks for coming on out.
It was my joy to be in Cleveland. Cleveland's a wonderful city, and it's a even more wonderful diocese.
Well, I'm noticing we've got these lanyards or our credentials.
Yes.
And mine, well, it says my name and then a little banner, a little ribbon says priest, and Deacon Mike says deacon. Yours has the most interesting ribbon I've seen so far. It says bishop care. So tell us about what bishop care entails. I think that's hilarious.
So bishop care ultimately means that here at this gathering, there are over 200 bishops from the United States and around the world.
2 from Cleveland.
2 from Cleveland, all right. And our job here as USCCB staff is to make sure that they get to where they need to go. We take care of any issues that arise for them. And generally we work the office here at this event where bishops can come if they have any questions, if they're missing their credentials, if they've run into issues, if something needs an emergency situation comes up in their diocese and they need to take care of things. We're the team that makes sure they get what they need and then get them where they need to go.
Excellent.
So that's one of the highlights of my life. In World Youth Day in Toronto, I helped
with Bishop Care?
With Bishop Care for the USCCB. We volunteered, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to meet a lot of different people and a lot of different a lot of people from different places, a lot of bishops who I didn't know. So it's good. So thanks for doing all that work. I know it's bishops need bishop care sometime, don't they?
A couple of them have joked with us. They see the word bishop care on our badges, and they're like, "What kind of care are you offering me? Spiritual care, pastoral care, logistical care?" I said, "Whatever kind of care the moment needs."
Hygiene care.
I guess there are limits to our care, perhaps. Yeah.
So we're here at the National Eucharistic Congress, and we've been looking forward to this for a while, huh?
Yeah, we've got at least 250 people from the Diocese of Cleveland. We came in on 4 buses yesterday. Yep. Some other folks drove in on themselves in cars, but it was a fairly uneventful journey, which was wonderful. Although we ate lunch at 11 a.m. and then dinner at 3 p.m.
Like the old folks in Florida.
Yeah, it was a little different, but we're adapting, and pilgrimage is a time to adapt and be challenged and let your heart be formed in a way that maybe you didn't expect it to be. So far, so good.
I'm going to brag. I got on the treadmill last night at 11:30.
Oh, well, I snuck in between the time we got to the hotel and left for this place.
Yeah, you did.
And this place is Lucas Oil Stadium and Convention Center?
Yes, the Indiana Convention Center.
Yeah. So 50,000 strong. Opening liturgy last night was the end of the Eucharistic procession, and then a holy hour, basically.
Yeah.
Music, praise and worship, some speakers.
Yeah, it was good. It was electric at times, and it was kind of cool seeing people coming in from the 4 corners of the country. Really, it was kind of nice to see their faces as they came in. There was like this real kind of moment of pride, like we've gone all this way.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Well, I don't know where you were sitting, but I couldn't find the group. So eventually, I wound up with Jen and Frank Ricard. But we were all split up. I think our hope was we could all be together, but we weren't.
Yeah, most of us were there. We were on the floor by 116. And we had pretty good seats. Actually, it was really nice. I was sitting nearby Bishop Woost and Father Ian Kelly and a few other folks. And so it was fun. Yeah, it was really good. One of Paul and I's favorites talked last night. Who's the Papal Nuncio, Cardinal. Yeah,
He's got a French name.
he does.
Sure, not sure more.
I'm gonna let you figure it out.
I should know. Pierre something.
Cardinal Pierre is correct.
What's his first name? Christophe. Cardinal Christophe Pierre.
There you go. I will take obscure cardinals for 500.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, he was great.
And had a good message of unity last night. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Cardinal Pierre, he's the personal representative of Pope Francis to this Congress, to the United States. And here at this Congress, he was really sharing Pope Francis's message of unity, that the Eucharist binds the people together, but also what binds them together is what they do when the Eucharist inspires them, when it fills them up and makes them see the world in new ways, and that should be what unites us and almost distinguishes us from communities outside of our church. And so I think he was really trying to drive home that message to remind us that, it's great to gather, it's great to be on fire with it, but it's even greater what happens next, what happens in our everyday lives as we're fueled by this Eucharistic spirit.
He presented a couple great both ands yesterday. So he talked about, in terms of unity, both that the Holy Father, the Pope himself, is a sign of unity, and the Eucharist is a sign of unity, both of those things. And then he talked about the importance of adoration and the celebration of Mass, and then being sent out. Go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life. Go and announce the gospel of the Lord. And then being a Eucharistic people, and yes, worshiping, and yes, adoring, and also both living and becoming what it is that you receive, who it is that you receive for others, especially those you may not get along with. And in there you find your unity. So challenging and good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. He's been I've been in a couple workshops with Paul, and he's usually the bishop who comes and talks at the very end as the papal nuncio. Sure. And unscripted, he is very entertaining. I mean, he's just really funny and kind of off the cuff. He did that a little bit last night. Yep. Don't you agree? Don't you agree?
He asked another question. Isn't this true?
Isn't this true?
Something
I think
like
right.
that. It was funny because he did it twice. I'm like, and it was not in the script.
And he then waited for the audience to answer. In a way, that's exactly what Pope Francis does in a lot of his talks. He kind of breaks from the script and asks the audience, "What do you think?" And so I think he's taking a cue from his own boss.
And the one guy's like, so we disagree. Well, we'll see. And someone was.
I am confident in my opinion. That was great.
I also enjoyed the Sister of Life. She had a good name too.
Sister Bethany Madonna.
Yeah, she was great. And one of the images she shared, she was talking about suffering and why suffering, and she talked about the sea turtles that are born far from the ocean, and then they have to break out of their shell and then crawl to the ocean, and in doing so they build up all these muscles that allow them to swim. And if you take the sea turtle right when it's born and carry it to the ocean yourself, it'll die, because those moments that are very painful and difficult are essential for the survival of that particular animal. And I thought, that's a really nice image. I like that one a lot.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because about a year or so ago, I was in field ed at St. Brendan's Parish, and Father Tom Woost, the brother of Bishop Woost, gave that exact homily. And it was like, and he said it had popped up on like his Microsoft screen, this image of sea turtles, and it said, "Want to know more?" And so he said, "I never clicked this thing, but today I did." And he just went through that whole thing. People went wild for it. Everybody was asking for comments and saying, "Hey, do you have that homily somewhere that you could send me?" And Bishop Bruce was laughing because he said all over a Microsoft screen. This is great.
The other image it wasn't an image. It was a story she told about a woman who was in some sort of therapy, and part of the therapy was a holy hour every day. And that at first she said she sat with her back to the tabernacle and was very upset and didn't even want to talk. And then it was anger, and then it was sadness, and then it was conversation, which was basically the stages of grief, but going through them and trusting that the Lord wants to enter into all that stuff. Yeah. And so whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, share it. It's okay to share. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. Like, work through that stuff with the Lord. I thought that was really cool, too.
Yeah, I did, too, yeah.
And she had a funny sense of humor, too. So I like the way that she delivered.
She did. I liked her Ignatian meditation at the beginning, too. She talked about, putting herself in the story and then saying, "Hey, Philip, you're not getting this right."
Well, she called him Phil. She was
Phil, that's right.
Yeah, Matt.
Phil, Matt.
Pete,
we need to pump us up a little. John, great. Tear coming down the face. Perfect.
Yeah, that was good.
She's good. Sisters of Life are always fun. Paul, tell me a little bit about like what you've been working on this for a while. So what were your expectations coming in?
This is another national event that the church is doing, and I'm used to World Youth Days, which are international events that happen every couple of years around the world, and I've been to SEEK conferences with Focus or the National Catholic Youth Conferences. So I've seen these large national gatherings, the Los Angeles Religious Ed Congress. So I was expecting a little bit of that, but what's distinct about those and this is that that those conferences are often focused on particular audiences, like those who work with youth, or those who are religious educators, or college students. What's distinct here, in my I was thinking I would see big church like them, but what's distinct is that this Congress is bringing all those different communities. It's bringing young people, educators. It's bringing parents. It's bringing Catholics who come to church daily and Catholics who come to church perhaps only a few times a year, and it's bringing them all together. People who are involved in various ministries, various dimensions of the life of the church, and so my expectation coming in was I didn't really have, because I knew it was going to be big church. But what happens when all those big church moments come together in one? And I'm really heartened when I'm seeing the encounters of all these different types of ministries, these different types of people that are all united as Catholics, and thus all united in that Eucharistic spirit. So that to me is an expectation. I was expecting for there to be something unique, but I wasn't sure what it would be. And as I'm going through each moment of this conference, I'm getting to see what that unity that that our speakers have spoken about, what that unity looks like when you bring these people from different parts of the church, different age groups, different cultures, and put them together in one space, all celebrating the Lord. And that's been great. My expectations have been fulfilled in that, being able to see what that church that comes together, that journeys together, what that's like.
Right, and we're only one day in, so
I know.
Keep it going, right? What do you expect coming in?
A lot of people, big crowds, and I've done World Youth Days before. I did France, Rome, Toronto, Germany, but I was talking to Deacon Mike before we started here. The older I get, the more I like smaller crowds and more specific, like I'm in the Flannery O'Connor conference. So these big things, it is a stretch. It stretches me. So I think part of what I was expecting was to be overwhelmed a little bit by the crowds and the music, but hopefully to have my heart transformed. I think that's one of the things you keep hearing, like, convert me, like, make me grow closer to you, let me be a better disciple. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. And I think as a 48-year-old man, that looked different than when I was 18 or 28. And so just doing this as a older adult or a mid rather than as a younger adult. So I guess I didn't come in with great expectations other than like wanting conversion and be a better disciple for myself and lead and support the folks who are, from our Eucharistic Revival team in making sure things go smoothly so people have a good experience,
Yeah. I think for me it was I'm always just energized by people because I'm an extrovert, as you know, and he's like, no, not you.
I am too.
You are, yeah,
but differently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so I always think that I'm going to be like excited by a particular talk or a particular workshop, and every time I go to a conference, it's always all the people I met and all the people I caught up with. And I just saw Barb McCrabb earlier from Bishop's Conference, who I've known for years. And it's just really super to catch up with people, and then also just to meet new people and to see, sort of like what you were saying, Paul, is like to see the largesse of the church. That we're not all just one uniform kind of body, but that we come from all different kinds of places, and we have a lot to learn from one another. So that's, for me, that's already happened, so I think it's really great. And getting to know our own delegation, it was a fun bus ride down. Some people I knew really well, some people not at all. So that's been good.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, Paul, do you have any fears for this conference? Like, what do you not want to happen as a result of this?
I mean, one of the things I want to make sure that happens is that the bishops, that our people, that everyone's safe. This is a large gathering, and large gatherings, I mean, I've been to many, and when you get people in crowds, sometimes some challenges can happen. Accidents can happen. I was actually driving a bishop through this crowd in one of the vehicles. One of the some bishops with mobility issues. We have golf carts for them, but then driving through a swarm of thousands of people in that golf cart itself is like a recipe for potential disaster. And so of course there is that certain fear to make sure everyone's keeping safe. A lot of people who are here I don't foresee any issues regarding people getting into theological fisticuffs or anything like that. Although that would be kind of fun. Maybe that could be a exhibit hall thing. But
the spiritual smackdown.
Exactly. But I when you get large groups, anything can happen, and so therefore we're just being very mindful. My role here is part of Bishop Care is also caring for making sure safety is foremost for them and for the people around them. That's a key thing. So that's a little fear I have, and that's kind of a basic fear, but it is a fear that I'm keeping an eye out for.
Cool. We haven't been on the podcast since the assassination attempt either, so I've been mindful of those kinds of things too. Is that in big crowds things sometimes happen, and you really have to be wary. So let's continue to pray for peace in our world. Pray for former President Trump's recovery and President Biden's recovery now. He has COVID, so keep everybody in mind and keep everybody safe here.
Indeed.
Paul, when you were the diocesan director in the Diocese of Joliet, one of the things that you used to tell me you were most proud of was the athletic leagues that you formed. So you inspired me because we have a softball league here, and so it's time for this week's softball update. A long day of softball out in Parma. Starting out with the Parma Peacocks knocking off the Ite Mighty Doves. A 3-run fourth inning gave the Peacocks all they would need. Joe Vicario, Richard Suspaniak, and Tony Vicario, all with hits in the fourth inning. Ite made it close with 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th, but Adam and Matt Garvin each had RBI singles, but not enough. The Peacocks 4, the Ite Mighty Doves 3. Big League Chew knocked off the defending champion catching Flamingos 3-1. Michelle Nin, she has come out of nowhere. 2 hits, 2 RBIs. She is vying for most improved player in this league. She made a hard luck loser out of Rutger Dumb, and the Flamingos 3-1 again the score. Michael Nin keeping it in the family, an additional RBI single for the Chew. Tim Mogling had the lone RBI for the Flamingos. Boy, did the Blue Scapulars have a day. They knocked off 2 games, sweeping the day 10-8 over the Vikings in the first one. In a heated matchup, Nick Kruner, Matt Van Horn, 2 home runs in a 6th-run first inning. Walks and errors the story late as well. Pitcher Phil Wancata had a hard time finding the plate in the 4th inning. That led to 3 more Scapular runs. Wancata, however, made up for it at the plate. 5 big RBIs on the day. A makeup game for the nightcap, a rain-delayed extra inning affair, with the Scapulars coming away with a 17-10 win over Grapes of Wrath. Grapes of Wrath now on the verge of elimination. They have to win the rest of their games, and they still need help to sneak into the playoffs. Josh Bewley and Matt Van Horn had 3 hits apiece for the Scapulars. Van Horn with 3 RBIs. Leo Bastuli also had 2 RBIs. Tough day for the Grapes of Wrath. As I said, they also lost their opener. The Chosen Ones took that game from them 11-8, a 7-run 6th inning, capped by Steph Baccio's 2-run triple. That gave them all they would need. They are now on the heels of the Whitecaps in second place at 4-1. We'll be out again next week. Check us out then, and check out Archangel Outfitters. They have given us our uniforms, so archangeloutfitters.net, as they sponsor this softball update. All right, you can come on out Sunday and see us all again at St. John Bosco Parish. Things are heating up. The Grapes of Wrath are on the verge of elimination from the playoffs this week, so pray for those guys. They're getting close.
Well, they'll have time to reread Steinbeck's classic. And listen to The Ghost of Tom Joad by Bruce Springsteen, which is one of his finest albums.
Exactly. Each week we talk about a parish in the Diocese of Cleveland, our church search, but Paul is not from Cleveland, but we thought we would give him a chance to talk a little bit about the church where he lives. So, Paul, where's that?
I go to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton in Crofton, Maryland, which is in the Archdiocese of Baltimore. It's a suburban parish, about halfway between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. We have a wonderful community, probably about 2,000 or 3,000 families that are part of the community. The community is because of where we're located, by some military bases, government workers, people in different types of industries. I mean, everyone's got an industry in Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. And so the community itself is very diverse in terms of where it works, culturally, ethnically, and that type of diversity is really celebrated in the community. And we love to see all the different gifts that people bring, everything from military officers to NASA engineers, people who are working on telescopes and satellites, to people, to moms and dads who are staying at home taking care of their kids. So it's a great variety of families and people who are part of that place, and it's just been a joy for my wife and I to call that home. And so we've got several priests who preach there, and the homilies are always good, and we've got a number of deacons, and their homilies are good too. And but the pastoral care is just second to none. So I really enjoy being a part of that family.
Cool. Father Damian, I don't know if you know this, but Paul's wife Sarah does a podcast with our own Christy Cabanis.
I think I may have heard that.
Yeah. So
Christy's, I texted her yesterday. She's killing it with the organization of this thing.
you ain't kidding.
And she'll say, because I'll say, well, you were 4 years in the Navy, and she'll say that had no impact on anything. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
She's super organized and gets things done really well, and without much drama. It just takes care of business. It's
exactly.
really lovely.
Yeah.
And it's a great gift to the diocese.
Amen. Yeah, as I said to her last week when we were on the podcast, Christy is allergic to two things: cats and inefficiency. And so Christy has really got us moving around. She's done a really great job. She's always fun to work with. And so scripture for this coming weekend, they were like sheep without a shepherd. Imagine this crowd being like sheep without a shepherd. That would be a disaster. So that always speaks to me, because I always think, like, well, who are the people who are like sheep without a shepherd? Those are the folks that we're called to go and kind of bring them back in to do some good evangelization, and to make them feel welcome, so that they know the shepherd and feel comfortable with the shepherd, and then they'll follow the shepherd's voice wherever he wants them to go.
Yeah, and even for those who've been with the shepherd for a while, sometimes we drift. So it's important to remember that you always need a shepherd. Because if you start leading yourself, you wind up in a thorn bush.
Yeah, very good. Anything from you, Paul?
Well, my work here, working with our bishops, who they're shepherds in a sense. They take on that role from the Lord, who gave the apostles that ability to be shepherds to the community, as in this earthly kingdom. And so my job is to, of course, take care of and make sure that the shepherds speak with the voice to take care of the people across the United States, specifically in the areas of laity and young people, so that, again, the lay people and so that young people know that their shepherds care for them as well, just like the good shepherd cared for the flock around of all time and space. So,
amen. Cool. All right, well, we're here at the Indiana Convention Center, and Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll be here for the rest of the weekend, and then heading on back on the long journey back to Cleveland on the bus. What are you looking forward to, Father D?
Well, I was looking forward to seeing the Hillbilly Thomists perform today, but I saw on X, formerly Twitter, that their flight was delayed out of New York City.
Oh, wow.
So tomorrow they'll be playing on that stage in there, I guess.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'd like to see them. And then I like masses. I do like big masses with big groups and all the music and singing and all that. So, and just people, and running into people that I haven't seen in a while. That makes me happy. It's a small Catholic world,
Yeah, same for me. So we'll be going around. I'm going to a thing on synodality this afternoon,
Great.
So I think that'll be fun.
I am?
No, I am.
Oh, I think you said we.
No, I said I'm going.
Oh, okay.
You can go where you want.
I was going to say, am I going to the wrong thing? I think I'm going to like a priest thing. Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm going to something. I'll find out.
That's right. We'll find out. And you'll find out too. Check in with us a little bit later, and maybe we'll have a little bit more for you here on this week's Question of Faith.